Hello and welcome to Play Talk Repeat for this our video game book club episode. It has been a hot minute. How long's it been?
At least a hot minute,
Yeah.
if not more.
Yeah, like year and a half.
Yeah, Jesus Christ, it's
Yeah.
been a long time. Yeah, so the overall consensus is that I picked a video game book club game so bad that it actually killed the channel completely. But we're back. We're doing stuff. Niall has suggested the game Citizen Sleeper. Why don't you tell us a little bit about why you picked said game?
So I picked Citizen Sleeper because I think it's a great video game book club game because it offers a lot of choice variants. I think we thought beforehand, we had a chat beforehand, and we thought that we should probably have all got the same ending. I'm not certain, to be honest. But yeah, different endings, different choices, and also it's just a bit bloody different as well. Because it's basically a digital tabletop role playing game, digitized. Yeah,
Digitized.
A
Crazy.
digital game digitized.
yeah, even further.
Double
Damn.
digital. So a little bit about the game. So Citizen Sleeper was developed by Jump Over the Age. I never heard of them before this, and published by Fellow Traveller. It originally released in May 2022 for PC, Switch, and the Xbox One/Series consoles before being released on the PS4 and PS5 in March 2023. It is simply classed as, if you're just looking at the genre, as a role-playing game, but as Niall said, it is a digitized digital tabletop game. It's strictly single player and has a sequel on the way in 2025. So, shall we start with some opening statements? Maybe from Big Noz to start with.
Yeah, so I'll go straight away. Oh yeah, I remember we do our scores, don't we?
We do have scores.
Let me get me how long to beat up. Let's have a look at what my score was.
Unprepared.
What did you say to me?
I said just unprepared.
I'm not unprepared. I forgot this was part of it. So I gave Citizen Sleeper I believe an 80 out of 100, which is an 8 out of 10 if you want to divide both sides by 10.
Or a 4 out of 5.
Or a 4 out of 5, yeah. I thought it was quite a good game, to be honest. The standout features for me were I really liked the randomness of the dice determining what type of actions you can do, but also like what type of actions you want to like try and do, because there are different so what's the word, like levels of safety for actions. So some actions are completely safe, some are a bit dangerous, and some are very dangerous. So if you're doing dangerous actions and you want high dice rolls, but you might be able to get away with an action if it's safe, or it won't be like super optimal. But yeah, and then there's also other mechanics as well which take advantage of using like ones or twos, such as like the interfacing. So I thought the choices between what actions you can do determined by dice was quite good. And then also I thought the story was pretty banging as well. But yeah, that's me.
Yeah, banging. Alex?
Can I go last?
Sure. Yep. Lewis?
Overall, I gave the game a 7 out of 10. I was actually quite surprised with the game in terms of how much I enjoyed it. I have a lot of issues with not really the narrative side of things, but I think the gameplay leaves a lot to be desired. I won't say exactly why until we get a bit further into the review and whatever, but I think the gameplay aspect of it does leave a lot to be desired, but I think narrative, God damn it, I can't speak. I think narratively, it was very, very strong, and I was genuinely surprised by how good the writing was, and just the fact that I enjoyed a game like this as much as I did, because going into it, and prior to loading it up, I was worried that it was just sort of going to be a slog and it wasn't going to be something I enjoyed. Not that like reading is bad or anything. It's just that obviously when I play a game, like I want to play a game, and in my head I don't necessarily want to have to sit there and read. But I thoroughly enjoyed it, in terms of story. But yeah, it's just the gameplay for me has quite a few issues. But yeah, 7 out of 10 overall.
7 out of 10, banging. So I'll go then, since I'm probably not going to be quite as negative as Alex is going to be from the sounds of things. So I also gave it a 7 out of 10. It's fine. It is completely fine. Like you said, the story's good. I feel it is quite rushed in some areas, which I'll get into later. the gameplay is. Now, do you know what? Remember having one of our spirited debates the other day, and was talking about what I think the most important thing in video games is.
Was it gameplay?
No, it wasn't gameplay. It was if the
Oh, I don't
game
remember.
is fun, and this game is not fun. It's just not. It's not fun at all. There is barely any gameplay. Like I said, there's a little bit of risk element with the dice and all that kind of stuff. It adds something to it, but without those dice, this would just be reading.
It's like I'm listening to an IGN review. The game isn't fun. 7 out of 10.
But it's mechanically everything's fine. The
Yeah.
story is good. It looks nice, but it's not fun. Like I like games to be fun, and this isn't fun. Like for me, if a game isn't fun, then it can't go over a 7 out of 10.
I also think the issue with the gameplay, at least for me as well, is that the gameplay has the possibility to be fun. I just don't think they did it very well.
No, I get that.
And yeah, it's kind of part of the problem.
Now, go on, Alex. How much did you hate it?
I fucking hated this game. I did not like. It was so boring. Like, it was not fun, as Oliver said. I was like, there was just paragraphs and paragraphs and paragraphs, text, and nothing else. I just felt like I wasn't really doing anything. All I was doing was reading, and I didn't care about half the characters. I was like, why am I playing this game? And the dice don't really do anything for the game apart from, like, you do a few different actions, but then your condition worsens over time, so then I've only got less dice, and then it just wasn't my type of game. I gave it a 3 out of 10.
It wasn't an Alex game.
Jesus Christ.
It was not
three.
an Alex game.
That brings down the average quite considerably, doesn't it?
A 3 is bottom of the barrel. My
See,
God.
I tried to be like, I'm gonna like see like what everyone likes about this game. Like Niall was singing its praises. I was like, right, what is this game about? And I was just bored the entire time.
Yeah, no, I think it would have massively benefited from some voice acting. I know that's obviously quite
Yes,
a lot. I mean,
100%.
the
Yeah.
studio seems quite small, so maybe
I-
they didn't quite have the budget for it. But yeah,
I assume the sequel. I would be very surprised if the sequel does not have voice acting. I'm going to hope that it does.
yeah,
Because yeah, it would definitely. It would definitely make it a lot more digestible if it did have voice acting. It would make a lot of some of those longer, a bit more boring part. Because there were some characters that I didn't have as big of an attachment to as others, and it definitely would have just benefited from being able to listen to it rather than having to like read it and read the yapping rather than listening to the yapping, I suppose.
yeah. I found myself skipping over dialogue, not without meaning to. Like just my eyes were just glazing over at the end of it, and by the end of it, I was like, I didn't know what had happened. Like so, at one point during the game, like we'll get into like a spoiler section later or something, but an entire story thread that had been happening from the beginning ended, and I don't remember how it ended because I just glazed over because it was that boring.
Yeah, I think that happened with me as well.
Yeah, it might just be that part was written particularly badly.
Yeah, I mean that does make sense, I suppose. A game like this is a very high risk. If you don't like the story, then you're not gonna like the game because the story will then just get in the way of whatever else game there is. I suppose. So it does make sense.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing I did like I liked the soundtrack, even though it made me quite a sleepy citizen. For one of those
I
words.
thought the soundtrack added to a lot of the emotional beats of the game. To be honest, it was quite somber and quite telling for a lot of the scenes. I definitely think it's just one of the. It goes to the voice acting thing as well, where just having those like audio cues and just those things to like assist certain scenes, it definitely made it significantly better as if there were nothing. And I think it really captured the atmosphere of sort of drifting in space very, very, very well. I mean, it's one of the aspects of the game that I think did really good overall in terms of, like, I guess a cyberpunk sort of like space grungy type of like environment and type of story. I think this is one of the better games, at least for me, that's ever done it. I think in terms of actually creating that scene and making you feel like you're there, and actually making it feel like a like I said, like cyberpunky space type world. I don't think a game has ever really captured it for me quite as much as this one did.
Yeah.
At least for me, anyway. obviously that was a lot to do with the writing as well. But it was, like I said, it was just like the soundtrack and stuff as well. There was just a lot about it that really just added to that feeling that I think a lot of games don't really manage to do.
Yeah.
So I'll give it its praises for that.
I think one thing the soundtrack could have done without, though, is the constant droning of, like, obviously you're on a spaceship the entire time, but it's got the very, very loud, constant droning, which can act as, like, white noise kind of thing. Like, for me, it sounds like being in a data center with the aircon absolutely blaring constantly, and that sound that sends me to sleep. So when you've got that paired with a game where you're constantly reading, it's no wonder that things are being glazed over.
Yeah, I didn't really know. It was one of those things where it just sort of, like you said, it became background noise, so I didn't really register it. But I suppose if you're constantly hearing it and you knowing it's there, it could probably be quite, like, annoying, I guess.
Sends me straight to sleep. I'm guessing none of us did everything, did they?
No, I didn't touch the shipyard at all. I didn't like the one that is the most south building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, whoa. The like the lottery mission.
No, literally.
With Lena and we didn't touch Mina and Lem's story at all.
Yeah, that.
No.
Oh,
right,
that's what I did.
Yeah, that's
like the only thing I cared about.
Yeah, that's the only like the legit, like Alex just said, they're the only characters I connected with throughout the entire thing.
Yeah,
they weren't the only characters I connected with, but they were definitely my favorite characters, and I mean it led to the ending that I got.
Yeah, that's
so.
the ending I got.
That's the ending I got.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
interesting then, because that's the thing with that one in particular. I can't remember exactly what the actions were, but the actions just were never something I needed at any time, so I just didn't do them.
But you got money from it. That's how I got them. That's how I got money for the majority of the game.
I got money from I can't remember what building it was, but it was near the first spire. And basically you just played a game, and you would get I
just gambled.
Yeah, you get like 27 credits each time or something like that, as long as you had a 5 or a 6 to guarantee it.
I mean, it might depend on what character you picked at the beginning, because like for that you needed high intuition.
I was pretty much maxed out on all stats by the end. I started with operator.
I mean, I don't want to get too much into it now, but like in terms of the character class you choose at the start, I think it's very deceiving in terms of how much flexibility and how different choosing like one of the characters is. Like if you choose any of the characters, your gameplay isn't really going to change at all.
It's just one skill play, isn't it?
Yeah, it makes it seem like it has a much bigger impact than it does. But if you play the game for an hour, you can pretty much just rectify any of the nerfs or anything that a certain character may have.
Yeah, because you get a -1, don't you? And then like with your first skill point, you can immediately get rid of it.
Yeah, I would have probably not necessarily say they need to do it, because obviously that it'd be making it hard for no reason maybe, but I feel like it would have made more sense to completely lock you out of that skill tree if you were going to do that. Like if you were going to do the whole this is buffed in some way, but this is nerfed in some way. I would have rather it stayed nerfed, to sort of compensate for that. But yeah, it didn't end up really mattering. The character thing, which was a bit sad, because I was kind of excited when I saw there was multiple characters, because I thought we were all going to end up having different playthroughs as a result of that. But obviously when I played it and I realized how quickly you could just sort of fix it, I was like, oh, well, it don't really matter then, does it? Like, that's not going to be a significant part of the story if you chose engineer or whatever the other two classes were. I actually don't remember what they were.
Yeah, I can't remember what I picked. I just remember that intuition.
I can't remember what I picked.
Intuition initially was a -1.
I think I chose engineer. I think I chose.
Whatever the beefy one was, I think that's what I usually go for in games. Like the stronger one.
Yeah.
I think you picked the extractor.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, because I've got written down here, better using strength of will, worse with awareness to solve problems.
Yeah.
But honestly, I thought the operator really set me on the course for what storyline I ended up following, because it made me better at the interfacing straight away. So I made a lot of progress on that very quickly, and then that led me down the path to the ending, which I got anyway. So I guess it might have a slight benefit there, but I think that it would have been good to have a consistent buff to a particular path depending on your class.
Yeah.
So that you'd get something extra if you continue down the intuition route for operator, for example.
Yeah.
That
No.
would have been good.
Yeah, maybe not like what Lewis said, like locking out's a good idea, but maybe not even that. Maybe just having it like more of a like a buff in the initial, because +1 isn't. It's
not
nothing.
significant.
Minus
Yeah,
1 is
and you
nothing.
can't even go above 6.
Yeah, exactly. You can't go above. So the thing is, if you get if you're getting lots of 6s and 5s, because like I said, you get 5. If you got full health, you get 5 dice at the top. If you get 6s and 5s, you're basically guaranteed at the very least a neutral outcome, so you're not losing anything.
Was anyone else confused for a bit at the difference between neutral and positive? I was confused for quite a while because
Yeah.
I kind of understood it sometimes. It kind of comes into a skill. I assume most of you got it. Do you know the skill that tells you
It gives you
what
the
dice
outcomes.
roll is going to be? Yeah. A lot of the time, it would either be one positive outcome and a negative, but sometimes it would be 2 positive outcomes. And I was like, well, is that the positive outcome and the neutral outcome, or is the bad outcome also just positive in this situation? I couldn't figure out a lot of the time what the difference actually was between a positive outcome and a neutral one. They always felt very similar, if not the same.
Yeah, it was very confusing. That was very confusing because like sometimes if you got a negative outcome, you got something, but that perk didn't show it, so you like get minus energy or something. I was like, well, I wasn't warned about that. What's the point in the perk?
Yeah, it was a weird system, but that all goes into the gameplay. When we talk about like what we do and don't like, I suppose I'll mention it. But yeah, it was just a bit weird.
He's just walking away.
Sorry, no, yeah, I was just having something. Sorry, did it actually sound like a
Yeah,
lie?
It sounded like you
Walker
were
just
just walking
leaving.
away.
Sorry, I apologize. I'm enjoying the review, I promise.
Right. Shall we get into a bit of the story? So there will be some spoilers going forward.
I would love to.
You'd love to, right?
I'd
First of
love
all,
to.
I want to hear about Niall, because we all sound like we followed the same thread. I want to hear about what's going on.
Yeah, so did any of you guys ever come across a fellow called Neovend?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so I followed his storyline all the way to the
Alex
end.
did not. Alex never saw it.
Yeah, so it's pretty memorable. It's like a being trapped in a vending machine.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, so I followed his storyline all the way to the end. It was pretty much you get like through interacting with the interfacing, you get glimpses of the fact that something is hunting you and something is going to kill you, like it's tracking you down, like outside of the bounty hunter, which is doing it in the real world. And so you follow that thread until you find and kill the hunter, and then you find and kill the killer, and then you progress onwards and meet the being called the gardener.
Yep.
And the gardener at which point gives you the opportunity of whether to sort of merge with the all the stuff going on in the greenway, which is basically the gardener plus like all the sentient mushrooms, or you can choose to carry on living your life as you are, and then that's the choice you get. And then I don't know what happens if you chose to live with the mushrooms, but I chose to carry on my life, and then it did the credits, and then you get to keep playing the game afterwards.
You get to keep playing the game afterwards.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, it was the same with our ending. If you just press continue, you can just carry on.
Yeah, but so the way so the thing is, obviously, I mean, I did a lot of the mushroom stuff while I was waiting for our ending to come about, because there's quite a long waiting time.
Yeah, I didn't get to finish the stuff on the garden land, whatever it was called.
Yeah, so
I did most of it.
So
the countdown obviously started.
I'll go into more detail about what the ending is, but like, so once you get on the ship, like, you obviously choose to go or stay, kind of thing, and it takes off. When I started the game up again, that was still there. That bit of the game was still there. So if I wanted to carry on, I would have had to stay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't like that, because it just feels like I've undone my part of the story that I wanted to do just so I can carry on and do the rest of the mission. So I just didn't do it, which I felt kind of sad about.
Yeah.
It's like your choice didn't matter.
Yeah,
I mean, it makes sense depending on how you want to play the game. If you want to play it as like a definitive and finite thing, then yeah, I understand.
Well, that's what this
why
kind
you
of game
wouldn't wanna do
is
that.
supposed to be.
But
isn't it?
I also like give credit to them to just allow you to not miss out on so much more of the game, because there's a lot of parts of the game that you can't really access unless you're like really deep into the end of the game.
Yeah.
So I think it is like nice of them to just sort of let you carry on and experience everyone else's stories and stuff without having to necessarily like restart the whole thing. Because I don't think the game has enough content or differs enough to justify a second playthrough from the start when you can do pretty much everything in one playthrough apart from like the very specific endings, which I think there's about 4 of, I think, or 5.
I don't know. I failed a few of the drives.
See, one came up as failed for me, but it led to my ending anyway. So I don't think
Yeah.
it was necessarily failed.
From what I noticed, some of the drives failing was definitely a story thing where I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure you
Like the lottery
couldn't-
mission.
Yeah, you couldn't do it. Whereas some of them you genuinely could fail. I think I failed like only like 1 or 2 near the start, just because of some unlucky rolls that I got. Because there was that whole critical system in the game, like the critical choices,
Yeah.
which there wasn't that many of, but there was a couple of them, and I did fail one of those very early on because I hadn't quite understood yet how the different mechanics worked, and I was just sort of going willy nilly. So I ended up failing a drive very early on because of it. But yeah, for the most part, it was fairly difficult to fail the drives. The only way you could usually fail them is if they were time based, and it was like you literally had to do this thing before the timer ran out. But most of the time, yeah, it seemed like you could get through everything quite smoothly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. You know, Ethan, the bounty hunter.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
kept failing him on purpose, hoping he'd kill me so the game would end sooner.
Jesus Christ.
What the fuck? I really
But he's a
enjoyed.
coward. He doesn't even kill you.
I really enjoyed
I
Ethan.
failed him every single time, and he's just like,
Right,
I'll get you next time.
I really enjoyed Ethan's storyline.
Yeah, we'll get onto Ethan in a second. Because I'm sure we all experienced Ethan. So I want to talk about our story that we ended up ending on. So towards the back end of the ship now that you didn't go towards, there is a company that isn't the main 2 companies that are. This is a completely new company that are creating a ship to go to a uncharted planet somewhere. To basically start a new life and live and all that kind of stuff. But so all the people that are helping build it, like like the actions that I took were for money essentially, but you help build it. Everyone who helps build it gets entered into a lottery to work on the ship for, I think it's 2 decades, I believe, before you get there.
I think it's 2 decades.
Yeah, 2 decades. So it's your chance for a new life away from the other 2 corporations, all that kind of thing. Completely fresh start. So then, also working on the crew is a guy called Lem, and his surrogate daughter Mina, and he really wants to obviously start a new life for his kid and all that kind of stuff. And these are the characters that you really connect with, all that kind of stuff. You end up babysitting Mina at one point while Lem goes to work. He ends up getting on the crew properly, and then the time comes for the lottery to see who gets picked, and no one does. All the people that were going to get picked were already predetermined. It's done via, I think it's like ID numbers or something like that, isn't it? And no one working on the ship got given an ID number.
Yeah, basically it was a raffle and it was going to choose random ID numbers, but the people who'd worked on the ship they weren't actual staff. They were just counted as basically people who they'd hired to just sort of do it, but they weren't basically officially on their system, so they weren't put into the raffle at all.
Yeah,
like they were never in the raffle, but they thought they were going to be because they were promised they were going to be.
So it's a big old betrayal. But then later on in the game, someone else offers you the chance, basically saying, right, if you do this job for me, then I will get you and Lem and Mina onto the ship with forged IDs. And that is, I can't remember the guy's name, but the caveat is, he says, if you go, I'm going to put a tracker on you because I don't like mysteries. I don't like not knowing what's going on. So I'm going to put a tracker on you. So wherever you go, we know where you are. I can't remember who he worked for. I don't think he ever says who he worked for. He might just be independent.
No, I remember his name was Castor.
Castor, that's the guy.
But yeah, as far as I understood, he didn't work for anyone. He was just a guy. He was just sort of a dude that wanted to help.
Yeah.
That's mad because I interacted with him quite a lot, but obviously I didn't start that storyline. That was never something which he brought up.
It is really random, to be fair, the way you're approached by him. Because I, like you just said then, I also had spoken to him multiple times prior to this, and it was sort of talking about a different storyline. This part where he offers to help really is just sort of random. He just appears out of nowhere at some point and just says, I can basically get you on the ship. Can you just help me do this? And then you sort of say yes or no. It's really abrupt. He didn't really have any connection to the previous conversations I had with him. I don't know if he's guaranteed to appear if you're just on the Lem and Mina's storyline. Like, even if you don't speak to him prior, I don't know if he will still appear. But yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. He did just sort of pop up out of nowhere.
Yeah. So at the end, you get to choose essentially whether you go on the ship with them or you let them go, so they're not tracked. But I assume we all picked to go with them.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I
went with
did.
Yeah, we all picked to go.
Because I was scared that if I said no, that the game wouldn't end.
I mean, yeah, that isn't why I chose it. I just felt.
I didn't want to make
I was
Mina
like, oh my
sad.
god, here's my ticket out.
Yeah, it felt like it made the most sense to me from where my character was at the time to leave, even though obviously he himself had doubt. Because one of the cool things about the end in there is it offers you the option to, like Oliver said, it offers you the option to leave, but the reason you want to stay is because it's brought up when he looks at his ID that this guy has forged for him. He recognizes the face on the ID.
Yeah.
Which leads him to believe and understand that, wait, this guy on the ID was clearly me at some point, but he doesn't remember when he was part of that body. So it offers up a completely new like storyline basically. But like I said, I feel like from where my head was at the time, it just made the most sense to leave.
Yeah.
Even if the character like had doubts about like wanting to leave and stuff, it just made sense for me. I was like, this is a good ending for him. I want my character to be happy, so
Yeah.
I'm just going. I'm not pissing around with this.
And you'll like this now. So the achievement for that ending was called A Long Journey to a Small Unknown Planet.
Ooh.
So he showed that there's a book called A Long Journey to a Small Angry Planet that serves as a definite like inspiration for this game.
Yeah, it felt like I was reading one of those books from the Wayfarer series, 100%.
Very good book, by the way.
Yeah, very good.
But yeah,
Well, we can move on to Ethan.
Yeah, let's move on to Ethan. Someone else want to do
I'm interested. Right, so first of all, Alex mentioned that he kept on failing him, which was interesting because... Right, well, actually, let's go back to the beginning. Ethan is part of the bounty hunter storyline, essentially, because that's another consistent clock ticking down threat to the player that they have to deal with. So for me, that started when it felt like very abruptly let go from what was it called, Dragos.
I hated that bit. I hated it actively.
Yeah, so I got like kicked out almost immediately. I don't know whether that's something that everyone did. But yeah, then shortly after that, then I got introduced to Ethan. And did anybody else try fighting him? Because I just kind of rolled over.
I rolled over, I think.
Depends what you mean.
I think I fought him.
I don't think I tried fighting. I tried at some point shooting him.
Oh no, yeah, that was. I mean, that's in the bar afterwards.
Yeah, that is in the bar. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I tried shooting him there, but I didn't try fighting him early on, no, because I was too scared. Because I was worried at this point in the game that if I made a really bad decision, I was just gonna lose. Like, he was gonna kill me, and I died. So I wasn't willing to risk any sort of dodgy decisions like that. I didn't want to lose. I don't think it would have mattered because I assume you can't die.
According to Alex, but apparently for me, after that encounter, that's when the new bounty hunter was introduced.
Maywick, was it?
Yeah, I think so. But because Alex never, so when did that get introduced to you, Alex? If you kept on going back to Ethan failing him,
it was like I think there was like 3 cycles of Ethan trying to kill me, and then he appeared. What was he called? Maywick.
Maywick appeared.
Yeah.
Yeah, Maywick appeared for me.
He appeared for me as well. That's what I hated.
Yeah, he shot me. He shot me in the face.
He was supposed to be like 20 cycles away, and suddenly he was there.
And then he just appeared.
He just appeared.
Yeah, and he shot me, and then I ended up having to like sleep for like 3 days because I was like, I was like nearly dead.
This is the bit that I glazed over because he shot me as well.
Yeah, he shot me, but I killed him.
He did not shoot him.
He shot at me, and then he shot at me and killed Ethan.
Yeah. That's what
happened. Then it says your character picked up Ethan's gun and just started spraying.
Oh no, that didn't happen for me. Ethan survived for me, and Maywick tried killing me. Yeah.
Oh no, Ethan got fucking shot.
Yeah, no, Ethan
I
did.
can't,
Ethan did start it, mate.
unless he did. I don't
Ethan,
remember.
Ethan was chatting shit in the alley because he gets to a point because Ethan wants you to get his gun back for him.
Yeah.
So you get his gun back and you get an option to give it him or say, wait a second, you're not having this. I chose to give it him because I was like, Ethan's aight at this point. Ethan was not aight. He was a bastard.
Yeah, none of this happened for me.
He double crossed. And as soon as you gave him back his gun, he was like, right, I'm just basically gonna tell the Bounty Hunter Association or S and ARP, whatever they're called. He was like, I'm gonna tell him and blah blah blah. And then Maywick appears out of nowhere and just kills Ethan. He just shoots him in the back of the head. But then, like I said, after that, it said that my character picked up the gun and just started spraying, and then Maywick was just dead. Maywick was gone.
Yeah, the lack of clarity on this bit really shows how it was weirdly rushed, because the whole bounty hunter timer thing, that was in my mind, that was the timer till the end of the game. You know what I mean? So I started rushing the stuff with Mina and Lem, thinking he's going to get her at some point. I need to get out of here before he does. And then for some reason, they just threw him at me. It didn't matter at all. Then they removed all timers completely.
Yeah. I mean, like I just said then as well, it was the fact that I killed him felt really just fucking weird because
it was strange.
he was built up to be very, very scary, and he was like, oh, this guy's way worse than Ethan, he's gonna fuck his shit up. And then I killed him instantly, and I was sort of really confused, and I didn't really understand if I'd read it wrong.
Exactly my thoughts.
But then I definitely didn't read it wrong, because I remember searching it up after the fact, and I did indeed, exactly what I read or thought I read did happen, but it still just felt very weird narratively. It didn't really make any sense to me. And I did see the other options for what happens with Maywick. There's like 3 things overall. It's either you end up killing him when Ethan gets shot. And
two of us.
No, and
Probably my one where he shoots me.
If you remove the tracker, he won't be able to track you down and find you and Ethan in the alleyway in the first place.
That's
I don't
happened
know how,
to me.
Yeah, I don't know how you remove the tracker or would have removed the tracker beforehand, but yeah, I know that can happen as well.
So what was weird is that, like, the point that you're describing, I would not have had the tracker removed. It was just within the 20 days or however long it was until I was told that he was going to turn up. So I never gave Ethan his gun back. That might have been what triggered it for you guys. That seemed to be what you guys did. But yeah, I just, after disarming Ethan, he was kind of like a non-issue anymore. And then I just went through the storyline with Feng all the way to the end, and then you removed the tracker, and then that was not a timer anymore. And then again, I didn't have any timers in the game, but I was near the end of the Neo-Ven storyline anyway, so it kind of all worked out. So I never even saw Maywick at all.
That's crazy.
Well, he wasn't what he was built up to be anyway, so you were fine. You didn't miss anything by not seeing Maywick.
Yeah, no, it just felt very anticlimactic, because the thing is, like, this all happened in kind of a sequence to me, like the lottery failing, and Lem and Mina like just disappearing off the face of the earth for a bit, and then the whole Ethan stuff and the Maywick stuff.
Yeah.
It really built this like feeling of helplessness, but then it immediately just became, oh, you're fine, it's all good, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Just carry on doing what you're doing. Go help some vending machines.
Yeah, all of that like worry that I had about timers running out and just like shit essentially going wrong sort of got thrown out the window the moment that storyline ended.
Yep.
There wasn't really like that sense of like fear or dread anymore, or worry at all basically that you could lose the game or like something could go wrong. It just sort of was like smooth sailing from that point onwards, which sort of felt weird. I would have liked that consistent sort of like dread and fear throughout the entire game, whether even if it was
like cosmetic.
Like I did just something to sort of keep me on the edge of my seat and keep me just sort of constantly thinking about things.
Yeah, it's because it improves the dice mechanics, definitely. Like, as soon as you don't have that fear, I got it close to the end just because, for me, it was because I had got the reroll upgrade. That it became the point where I wasn't really threatening over dice anymore.
Yeah, so you could just, if you got shit dice and you didn't have the perk to re-roll them, you could just do another cycle. There was nothing stopping you from doing that at all.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't matter. Like, I mean, it's one of the. I mean, I may as well just speak about it now. It's one of the gameplay things for me anyway. I think I mentioned it at the very start of the review, my opening statement, that I think the gameplay is very lackluster, and I think they could have done it much better, but they didn't. And it comes down to the fact that the system they built up, and especially in tone with the story, you're meant to be, especially at the start, you're meant to be this robot android man who's like basically in a really, really shit situation. You have no money, you can't afford to do anything, you have a really shit house, all this other stuff. And I feel like the gameplay is meant to assist in making you feel hopeless, but I don't think it does at any point. The gameplay, or sorry, the dice mechanic, at first glance, feels like it truly does have a sense of, if I don't get good dice here, it really fucks me up, or I'm gonna have to make this choice here with my 3 dice, hoping that I get a positive outcome, because if not, it's really gonna mess things up. And I don't think it works very well, because I don't think, first of all, the game ever presents enough options where dice really matter. There's those critical situations, but as long as you have a 6 or a 5, and like the upgrade that gives you the +1, it does not matter, because a 5 and a 6 always guarantees you the best outcome regardless. And I don't know about you guys, but basically every day, whether or not it was with the reroll or not, I would always be pretty much guaranteed a 5 or a 6 or a couple of 5s and 6s.
Yeah.
The dices never felt like a detriment to my character in the slightest. Especially since they tried to add the whole, I don't remember what the systems were called, so like forgive me for this, but like there was the hunger meter,
Yeah.
and there was the
Condition.
The condition.
condition meter. And obviously, the lower your condition, the less dice that you got, and the lower your hunger at the end of every cycle, the more your condition decreased. If your hunger was high, if you were more full, your condition decreased by less every time. If it was really low, then it decreased by more. And those together seem like, oh shit, I have to actually manage my resources here, but you do not. I don't know about you guys. I basically had such a steady income of money early on, and the upgrades basically allowed me to get whatever I wanted, like every single cycle, where I needed money, where I needed food, blah blah blah. I pretty much every single day could have um, full hunger, and my condition was always nearly full, and I always had like I was gonna say a stim pack, but I always had the pills or whatever ready to go. And it made the whole dice system feel pointless, because I just constantly had 4 to 5 dice every single day. I had the ability to re-roll it. I always had high numbered dice. The options, like I said, always just benefited, or relied on you having basically a 5 or a 6, and then it guaranteed you getting whatever you wanted. There was never any threat or any issue really with getting exactly what I wanted. And I think with a game that wants you to manage your resources, and the whole gameplay aspect is based on this, what's meant to be random chance, and this feeling of not knowing whether you're going to be able to even have the right dice or enough like materials and stuff for the next day, I don't think it does any of that well at all, because you just feel way too strong way too quickly, and the whole system just falls apart based on how easily you can manage the resources, which I think you can manage really easy overall. I don't really get it.
So on the condition meter, do you know the pills that you can buy? It was like 80,
Yeah.
80 credits or something like that. Did anyone else finish the mission with the doctor?
Yeah.
No.
Wait, it depends.
I got close to the end, I think.
Yeah. Do you mean like the entire mission, like all the way to the end? As
All
in,
the way,
like,
all the way to the
when
end.
you meet that. I don't think so. No.
So if you finish that mission, she essentially gives you the rest of the pills, which
Oh,
which
really?
equates to 3. So once you've got that 3, that's it. You're gone. So if you don't have this scrap to repair yourself after that, then you're fucked. So, but I think the point, I think that there is a finite number of those pills in the game. What I was curious about, obviously none of you guys will have the answer, is if that number that she gives you there changes depending on how many pills you've already bought.
I was gonna say, I don't. Is there a finite amount? Because I bought a lot of pills from that doctor.
Well, one
especially when I got the discount and it was only 60 or something.
Yeah.
I didn't even get like to a
I
discount
bought a
point with
ton.
her.
Well, I never got to a discount, but did you have the perk for the credits, like 20% off? kind of thing.
I had that perk, but also at some point in the storyline they made it cheaper.
Yeah, you get a discount.
Because you get the other group and they go, we're handling shit now. We'll make it cheaper for you.
Yeah, I forgot what they called like the Yamahas or something.
Yeah,
like that.
the Yamahas, I think.
Yeah.
The pianos.
Yeah, the
Yamahas
pianos.
and the Yanahas.
So once you finish that mission with the doctor, the doctor's surgery disappears. You can't go and buy them anymore.
Right. Okay.
That's
How
mental.
did you get to the end of the storyline but not get a discount? I thought that was like
that's
in
the same
tandem.
storyline, yeah.
Yeah, because like that storyline, like they're in direct conflict with one another.
Yeah, the doctor, because you at the very start of the game, you obviously buy it from the doctor,
Yeah.
and then you go to the doctor's house, and she's left that message for you,
Yeah.
saying shit's gone south. I need you to go find some stuff out for me, and then you go do the research in the underground, the glowy eye section, whatever it is.
That's why I did
Um,
not understand any of
You
that.
do the research in there, and then go back to the house, and then this new group shows up, and then they scrap off the doctor and give you the discount.
I can't remember ever getting the discount. In mind, the doctor and that group were in the end working together, because you get to find out the head of that group is just some mad, insane fucking robot. or
Oh
something
yeah,
like
like that's the bit of the story that I got up to. I got up to the point where the doctor convinced the woman who was like a head of security or whatever that like they should be on the same side, and then I beat the game after that, so I didn't finish it.
Interesting. Yeah, I can't remember exactly what happened, but I don't remember ever getting a discount. The doctor and the main lady from the lady that you had to speak to from that company survived, and but the head of the corporation ends up being a crazy person that tries to kill you. But anyway, we're getting towards 40 minutes now, so we should probably move on to 20 questions for the next game, unless anyone has anything else they want to say.
That eye stuff was bollocks. I didn't understand any of it.
The eye stuff was bollocks.
I don't understand how.
Yes, it was very simple.
It made no sense to me. I was trying to do it, but then it'd be like, nah, I'm not accepting your dice, mate.
Because
Because
probably
it says
use
the
red
dice you
die.
need.
Yeah, it says you need a specific dice.
Yeah, I know, but I'd have that dice and I'd go, no.
I don't
I
believe
feel
you.
like you were placing it in the wrong. I feel like
No, I did some of them. I got like one of the things for it, but then I couldn't get any more.
It seems like an impossible part to mess up.
Yeah, literally. I mean, to be
No,
fair,
I
you,
literally didn't do any of the eye stuff.
you might have come across a bug. I did come across a bug once where I couldn't place something. I can't remember what it was into a slot when I should have been able to do it, and like I knew it was a bug because the next day I could do it. It was just broken on that cycle for whatever reason. So you might have come across that for that one time, so then you gave up. But
Yeah, no.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I liked that part because I had something to do with ones and twos.
yeah, exactly. It was
Yeah,
great.
that's literally what I did. Yeah.
But then it also
I would just sunbathe with my 1 and 2s to get my energy back.
I never actually did that,
No, I just
but
hate
it goes against it goes so it's in like is what Lewis was saying as well. Just to go back to what he was saying, I agree that the difficulty curve wasn't well managed. I felt like very quickly it became there was sometimes like for example I would always have it so I had 5 dice. I would never go under.
Yeah, same.
Oh, I had such a struggle keeping dice.
Oh well, so for
Spend
Alex,
no
the
money.
difficulty was good, but everyone else, but yeah, like I understand, like, oh, you want to get more powerful, like you feel more comfortable on the ship and stuff like that, and it did make me feel more comfortable, so getting bad grips with life. I want to keep going, Oliver. I've got a couple of characters to mention briefly.
You can
which
keep
I
going if you
will
want.
do.
We are going way over the hour mark if you do, because the 20 questions might take ages.
Just brief. I just wanted to ask what everyone's like favorite what you would class as side character was. In fact, I'll just go straight to that because Lewis already covered the difficulty curve. So, well, my favorite side story was the one with I will get her name up now. Ankita.
Ankita.
Oh,
No
really?
idea.
Wait,
Yeah.
isn't that the lady from the company from the doctor's thing?
No, it is the lady who is fixing up her ship,
Fixing the
Yeah.
and she
ship.
needs
I
a
didn't
ship
do that.
mind. Yeah, so she needed a ship mind, but I already got my lucky one to start the Neovend quest.
Yeah.
So it took me forever to start
Oh,
that.
same. Yeah, that one. That's what sucked for me as well. Because I couldn't get the
The ship
scrap to
fragment.
trade. Yeah, to trade for another one. Yeah, it took ages.
By the end, I had
Yeah.
loads of ship mines.
But yeah, the way that storyline ended is basically you aided her in killing another sleeper by accident. and
What?
that was very intense. And then she was just like, "Oh yeah, shit sucks."
Well, to be fair, the sleeper was already dead. We don't know whether it would have worked, like because the guy. So we killed her shipmate. We her sister and killing her shipmate, and the shipmate was in love with a sleeper who was attached to a ship mind that had stolen off Ankita. But as far as we never actually did anything to that sleeper. The sleeper was already dead when we got, so we don't know whether it would have even worked.
Yeah, but yeah, that was a good one. I don't know if anybody else finished the bar character storyline. I forgot what she's called.
I think I was close.
That's when I actually did.
I think I was close. I was up to the part where you had to get the mushroom spores for it.
Honestly, I think that is the end because multiple times I made drinks with those mushrooms and they didn't progress anything.
I got the spores, but then I had to bring her mushrooms as well. I didn't complete the quest.
I finished it, but like there was no point in actually like using those mushrooms when there was like better stuff out there, which was like cheaper. So I just didn't even utilize the stuff that I got.
I mean, for me, it was a problem because I don't know about you guys, but very early on, you got that quest from the chef guy to bring him some mushrooms, and I did not do that until I think 2 cycles before the game ended for me, just because I didn't go to the back of the ship until towards the end of the game, so I didn't end up getting a lot of the stuff that involved that mushroom stuff done. Like, even though I was enjoying the bar lady's quest, it got put on hold for ages purely because I didn't have access to the mushrooms or whatever, and I was doing other stuff.
Yeah, I agree. The pacing was messed up with that because by the time I got, because I think like 3 quests need mushrooms, and by the time I got there, I was like, okay, I don't. And now like I'm close to the end of the game, I don't even know what quest to try and pursue.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened with me. And then I got obviously put into a countdown. Obviously you got a different ending now, but yeah, when with mine, Oliver and Alex's ending, it basically says in 8 cycles or 12 cycles, the ship's gonna come. And you'll have to make your decision whether you stay or whatever. So I got put on a definitive timer of this is how many turns I do have left. So I couldn't overly start anything new at that point. I just sort of had to try and do anything I could for the remaining cycles and just see if I could finish storyline.
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I just you just have to push the quest as far as you can before that's it. You've got to get on the ship, kind of thing. To answer your question now, my favorite side character hilariously was Neovend, because I had no idea there wasn't even an ending for him. I got to the end of his quest, but I had no idea there wasn't any option for an ending or anything like that.
I didn't even meet this geezer.
Well, did you end up uncovering the interface for Greenway?
No, I don't think it. So to me, Neovend's quest ended when you met the gardener, and then it becomes the gardener quest.
Yes, that's exactly what happened to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, it was the gardener quest then. That was the ending. You were like right next at the end for that ending as well, but you wouldn't have known it was an ending, I suppose.
No, there's no indication of which missions are main story missions, which missions are side missions.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that, but I know you're not.
I wasn't, but I am now, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I was sad at the end when I thought I had to leave. There's so much stuff that I wanted.
I did want to carry on. Did you guys kill the killer or did you trap him?
Killed him.
Oh.
I trapped him.
Well, I felt awful for him. He was trying to kill himself for centuries.
Yeah, Neovan made me feel awful after. He was like, "Wow, really? You're just gonna let him sit there for eternity?" And it was like,
those final 3 strings for ages just to end his life, and he wouldn't even do it for him.
No. I thought that's what Neovan would have wanted, but like the argument went on for ages. Just like, why didn't you do it? It's like, I don't want to be a killer. I'm not going to contribute to it. Yeah, no, but fucking why?
Yeah.
Alex, have you got an answer to the question? Because we are approaching 50 minutes now. Niall.
The stray cat.
Never came across that.
Did you buy the apartment?
No, I got very close to doing it, but also I had like 3 other homes, and I was like,
I had about 4 homes.
Yeah, I had every apartment as well. I didn't really get the cat. I fed him once, and then it let you carry on feeding him after. Oh, sorry, yeah, you could keep feeding him afterwards.
But it didn't seem
to trigger anything.
Yeah, it didn't do anything.
So I was just wasting money.
Just throwing away 4 credits at a time. Right. Anyway, so that was Sleeper Citizen. So to sort of recap, I give it a 7. Alex gave it a 3. Lewis gave it a 7, I believe, and now gave it an 8.
Yes.
Lovely stuff. Right. So we're gonna move on.
Averages out to like what, like a 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So We're gonna move on to 20 questions to guess the next game. So the next game is going to be me. It was gonna be Lewis, but he's a indecisive Irene. So so feel free to start.
6.25 is the average. Sorry.
6.25. Lovely. So feel free to start asking questions. Go for it.
Go on, Lewis.
God damn it. Did this game release in the past 5 years?
No.
Damn it.
Hmm.
Always no.
I'll keep track on my fingers.
Is it a platformer?
No.
Is it exclusive to one console?
No.
Is your game... Is your game part of a franchise?
No. It's hard question to answer. In fact, I'm just going to say I don't know and give you back.
Oh, right.
Oh, giving it back.
Wait, does that mean I get to go again? Or
Yeah,
Yeah.
They put the finger down and everything.
Fuck. Okay. Does your game does your game have a multiplayer mode?
Good question. 1 second. I don't. No, it doesn't.
Right. Okay.
Will we have to emulate this game? Like, generally.
I'm going to generally yes.
Okay.
Okay, so is it on the PS2 generation of game, PS2, GameCube, Xbox?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Oh.
Is the game? Is it me?
Yeah.
Oh, it's gonna be an old stinker.
Is the game Chibi Robo?
It's not Chibi Robo.
Alright.
That's a good guess. That was a solid
Okay,
guess.
okay.
That would be something I'd pick. But if you remember, it wasn't exclusive to one console.
Oh shit! Yeah.
And Chibi Robo is also part of a franchise. What a silly question, Lewis.
That was
yeah,
a
no,
very
I'll
silly
take it back.
question,
Yeah,
Lewis.
technically is. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not a platformer, which means it's probably not a collectathon either. So it's not. I can't remember. It's not like a standard Nintendo game, I suppose.
Well, it
Like,
can't be a standard Nintendo because it's not exclusive to one console.
that is also true.
Yeah,
so
it's not,
yeah,
I don't know why
we're
we're so fixated on it being on GameCube.
looking at an old PlayStation game, then I suppose. It's not part of a franchise. It's a difficult.
No, we don't know.
Yeah, we don't
We
know.
don't- we
He
don't
doesn't know if it's part of a franchise.
So it's not obviously part of a franchise.
Yeah.
All right, Alex, you go. I can't think of one at the moment.
Is it part of? Is it like an existing IP?
I don't know what that means.
Like-
yeah, it
like a-
exists.
Like a Star Wars game, like
Like an IP from
Oh
another
right.
media.
Oh right.
Yeah.
No,
Right,
no, it's not. I
okay.
get it. So it's not like
Right,
it's not based
okay.
on a license or anything like that.
right.
Well, would you say it's a story-driven game?
I would. I think.
Go on, Lewis.
Is this game developed by a well-known developer?
It is. Wait, let me just double check that. It is. Yes.
And by
It's
well-known, I mean the average. Well, not the average gamer would be like, "Oh yeah, I know them."
I know exactly what you're talking about. The answer is definitely yes.
Okay,
That's
okay.
10 questions gone. 10 remaining.
A story-driven game, which, at least general knowledge-wise, it was a one and done,
And it's and it's not a licensed IP either.
and it's a well-known developer.
That takes out like THQ and stuff because they only made like licensed games, really.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if anybody like Santa Monica or anything like that made a game that was just one and done, and then
Oh, a
didn't.
load of those companies did. They always like started with some stray game like 20 years ago, and then they made fucking God of War. Like I don't. It's difficult.
Well, I'm just gonna waste a question on a specific developer. Is it Santa Monica
No.
who developed it? No.
It's not.
Is it first-person game?
I don't believe it is.
Right.
But I'm just double checking. No, it's not. It's not a first person game.
Does it
Okay.
have an iconic main character?
I would say no personally.
Oh, but it's kind of known though, based on all of his answers.
He's
Yeah.
like, maybe.
Some
I-
people might know him.
No, it's not that. Oh, is it third person?
It is third person.
Okay.
I wonder if it's Billy Hatcher.
Third
No,
person
no,
story
'cause that's
driven.
GameCube exclusive, isn't it?
Is it? Oh, it is. God damn it.
Is it me?
Yes.
Is it an adventure game?
Yes.
That doesn't help.
5 questions remaining.
An adventure third
Has
person
this game been remade?
Define remade.
Okay, has it? I mean, has it had a re-release or been remade?
Yes.
You should have added all remastered in there.
Fuck. God damn it.
So far I've got adventure story driven game on Xbox and PS2, probably not GameCube. One and done, third person. It could be GameCube, but I don't think that'll help us.
Yeah, no, yeah, just ignore the GameCube part.
Yeah.
Just GameCube part.
For the time, would you say it was a realistic art style?
No.
Oh, stylized.
It's a dodgy question, that, because I don't know what your definition of realistic is.
Well, like imitating real life, like you're Uncharted, you God of Wars, like that sort of thing. Like,
I'm going to say no. You might argue with me this later on, but I'm going to say no.
okay.
3 questions, and I guess.
This is difficult.
Oh, we don't know if it's a shooter as well. That might
An
help.
adventure game.
We just know it's third person.
Third person adventure game. That's a one and done.
No, we don't know
Most
if it's one
likely.
and done, do we?
Oh, he wasn't sure, so
He
it's
wasn't
like
sure if it's part of a
I will re-clarify. I'm not sure how to answer the question.
Shall I ask if it's at a remaster?
Maybe it's just... no, I don't. No, at this point, I don't think it's helpful enough. Because we know it's been re-released in some sort of format. Where knowing whether it's a remaster or not, I don't think we'll pin it down enough. In like 2 questions.
Is it a shooter?
That is not its main element.
but you probably do shoot.
There are guns. It's not its main element. I wouldn't call it a shooter.
I feel like I'm going to hate this.
You might do, I don't know.
Just
I don't know.
It's third person as guns. It's a well-known developer. I'm trying to think of like, that's a guess. No, that's the main aspects of the game. It's obviously not fucking that. It's also not third person. Is the main character? I can't say the word.
Anamorphic.
Anamorphic animal.
No.
Isn't it anthropomorphic?
Anthropomorphic.
That's
There
fine.
we go.
I don't know. I just
There
wanted-
we go. Thank you. I was thinking it might be, and this is weird. No, it can't have been that. Obviously, that's a franchise. It's fine. It's fine. An animal was a good one. We know it's not an iconic animal.
We got one question left to narrow this down.
It's me.
So, you know it's an animal.
Remember, we're doing 21 questions, not 20 questions, you silly goose.
So everyone gets
All right,
7.
okay.
So everyone gets 3.
I suppose that stops us getting sued by IGN as well.
Yeah. No, I said this before, but is it a collectathon?
If you said it before, why
You
not?
did already
No.
say that.
No, I didn't. I said that it's not one because it's not a platformer.
He never asked the question. I can't say for absolute certain, but looking at it, I would say no.
Okay.
So you got one question left then. And then everyone can have a guess.
Right, this is gonna be. Oh shit! I've just fucking not thingy. It's gonna be a stupid question, but do you think any of us have heard of this game before?
Yes.
I don't think you would
You
have
have
the game.
all heard of this game.
All heard of this game, he says.
Right, it's time for guesses.
Go on, Les.
Why?
You're next.
3D.
Did we ever say 3D?
I didn't mean third person. No, it's third person, so it would have to be 3D, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I suppose. Literally every game I can think of is either based on an IP or part of a franchise.
Yeah, that's
definitely part of one.
Yeah. And Oliver wouldn't choose something that he thinks would be boring. So I'm trying to pinpoint exactly what it is it could be. But I feel like this is like, because fucking PS2 especially has like a fucking 1,000 games. Has thousands of games, I'm pretty sure.
Thousands.
Could it be? Nah. Every game I want to say, I think about it, and it's just a game that's a sequel or is in a. So it can't be whatever I'm thinking. So it's making it really difficult. Is this my guess or is it a question?
This is a guess.
This is a guess.
Oh,
Well, it will be eventually anyway.
Shut up. I'm just trying to think of a really stray game. And we've all heard of it as well.
You might have even played it. I genuinely don't know if anyone's played this before. I know I haven't.
And he said the main character not iconic, but he believes it's kind of iconic. He knows.
To some people,
He knows that the people. He knows that the people know. My guess that I'm gonna throw out there for this video game is
Lewis.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I'm gonna guess.
Max Payne. Max Payne.
It is not Max Payne. Right.
Okay.
I also thought Max Payne, even though it wouldn't make sense because of the franchise. And mine's not going to make sense because of the IP, but I'm going to guess a Simpsons Hit and Run.
It is not Simpsons Hit and Run. Alex.
I chose that fear.
The only reason I'm going to say this is because you have mentioned it fairly recently.
Oh,
And I can't remember if it's on PS2 or not.
Come on, Alex. Put us
Beyond Good and Evil.
It is Beyond Good and Evil.
Oh,
I fucking got it.
Alex got it.
I was going to guess that like 6 questions in, and it was going to be my guess just a minute ago. But I didn't. The reason I didn't say. Why didn't I say it? It's because. Why didn't I say it? There was a reason why I justified it in my head where I was like, nah, that can't be it.
That was just re-released.
The franchise question was a hard one.
Well, yeah,
because
Beyond Good and Evil 2 doesn't technically exist.
Yeah, we don't know whether it's even coming out.
Yeah.
So we can't call it a franchise. It was made by Ubisoft, so one of the most fucking well-known developers in the world.
Yeah, I was gonna say Beyond Good and Evil. Good on it. Okay. I mean, I have always wanted to play it. To be fair.
Bye, Alex. Oh, that's Alex gone. Right. So yeah, Beyond Good and Evil in a month's time. Are we all excited?
Yeah, I've always wanted to play it.
Yeah. So it has just been re-released on Switch. If you want to go that route, or just emulate it on
Yeah,
GameCube.
the options, as far as I understand, is emulate it, or you can get the. I think there's a 20th anniversary edition, like PS4, but you have to buy it. Aim for it.
It's not on Game Pass that I'm aware of. It might be on PlayStation Plus. I genuinely don't know. There was a HD version released in 2011 for the 360 and PlayStation 3. no idea if that's playable anywhere.
Yeah,
So it's new one or emulate on GameCube.
Yeah, I know this new one just came out, didn't it? Like
Just
literally,
came
like,
out.
a week
It
ago.
literally just came out.
Yeah, but
So
I
there's
took
no
I took a
sale.
massive risk on that, like picking this game. I really thought you were going to get it earlier because I literally said the other day, like when we were talking about starting up PTR again, like this was the game that I'd pick.
Well, no, I'm telling you, I was going to just guess it like 5-6 questions in. I was literally going to say, is it Beyond Good and Evil? But for some reason, I just sort of talked myself out of it. I don't know why.
Fucked it.
There was a reason in my head where it made sense. Where I was like, oh, it can't be that, but I don't know what it was.
You're just silly, that's why.
Silly boys.
Silly sausage.
Alright, so we'll see you next time for the video game book club episode for Beyond Good and Evil. Until next time, we shall see you later.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Bye.